heard about a high-profile Denver talk show host taken off the air in the middle of his show, and he says it's because he criticized President Trump. Craig Silverman was removed by KNUS last weekend, and as Denver 7's Ivan Rodriguez tells us, station management says the decision had nothing to do with his political views.
After Craig Silverman was taken off air mid-show, controversy has surrounded his removal.
My mic was cut, and other programming came on. And I was told by the program director who came through my studio door, "You are done."
Silverman says it has to do with his criticism of President Trump.
It's outrageous to be kicked out of your own show while you're making the case against Donald Trump.
General Manager Brian Taylor says Silverman's claims are not true.
The only reason that show was stopped was because of his announcement that he was going to be appearing on other stations.
Silverman works as an independent contractor, which allows him to work with other media outlets. Taylor says Silverman wanted to have another show at a competitor instead of only appearing.
So if he's going to have another show, then we don't want an asset of ours to then become a benefit to a competitor, to a direct competitor. So that's why.
My contract requires me to put on the Craig Silverman show every Saturday morning from 9 to noon. And I have done a great job fulfilling my commitment. My contract does not preclude me from talking to Channel 7 or other media outlets. I'm an independent contractor.
And just to be clear, KNUS is owned by Salem Media Group. According to its website, it is, and this is a quote, America's leading radio broadcaster, internet content provider, and magazine and book publisher, targeting audiences interested in Christian and family-themed content and conservative values. Well, we've asked Krista Kafer to come back and visit with us more about this because you wrote a piece in the Denver Post the other day. Something similar happened to you. Explain.
It did. And I mean, let me just say that if a network wants to be 100% pro-Trump, that is their right. They have a right to do that. And ever since President Trump was elected, they have been purging their Trump critics from their ranks. And a Washington Post article that has sort of laid that out, starting with, and there have been local hosts like myself, also big hosts, national hosts like Michael Medved have been basically pushed off those shows because they weren't pro-Trump. And that happened to me back in 2017. With Craig Silverman's firing, I felt like now was the time to come forward.
So what changed for you? You were a Republican, and now where do you stand?
So I am still part of the Republican Party. I still believe in limited government, personal responsibility, lower taxation, personal liberty, that kind of a thing. But I've always been a critic of Donald Trump. From the time he started running, from the time he went down on that elevator, I don't know that, in fact, I can honestly say I don't think he's got the ethical caliber to be the president.
So is that what changed for you in your career at KNUS?
It did. So I had a
you can put those points together?
Yeah, I had a good experience. I was on with an older host who had been in the radio market for probably 40 years. We had a great time together. I was having a really great experience until Donald Trump became the nominee. I was critical, respectful, but critical. And over time, I think that management had decided that they didn't want that. In fact, one of the big guys came in from the national network and said, we really can't have anyone who's criticizing Trump.
And they said that to you directly?
They did in a meeting. And what do you say? I said, I'm respectful about it, but I think that listeners have a right to hear that there are good things the president is doing and also things that are not good. And within a short time after that, the show got canceled and they let me go. And, at the time I didn't think I should come forward because it's really, these things happen in radio.
Sure.
And like I said, they've got a right to be ideologically consistent, to basically be a Trump mouthpiece. That is their right. But there is something kind of unseemly and maybe a little bit not good for listeners to have a network that is 100% pro-Trump. And right now they're airing the pro-Trump impeachment talking points. Craig Silverman ran into trouble with that. There may have been other complicating factors in that situation. Either way, though, he's been fired, and there is not a single critic left on that program, on that station, that airs a program critical of Trump.
Krista Kafer, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Interesting. All right. Well, if you ever have a question or a segment idea for us, tweet us at Denver 7 Politics. And you can always watch today's segments anytime at thedenverchannel.com/Politics Unplugged. We thank you so much for spending part of your weekend with us. And we'll see you back here next Sunday for another edition of Politics Unplugged.